And we're live
Hello and welcome
to the first episode
of Talk Heathen.
And
When you do that,
really
it looks
excited.
like I'm not interrupting you.
right, no, it worked
we
really
have to
well. It worked
Yeah,
really
yeah,
well.
yeah.
We're here, we made it, and
We're
we
heathens.
have our first episode. I kind of want to talk about expectations and what we kind of expect for the show. I'll let them.
I expect
Right.
that it will be a success. Although I know that my expectations won't drive the rest of the universe to make things happen because the book The Secret is a bunch of bullshit.
Alrighty.
Starting off strong.
So one thing that I do want to kind of clarify, people were asking what I meant when I said it's going to be a long-form show. What we mean is that we're going to be having longer conversations.
Week to week as well.
And-
so one of the things that we both saw as valuable, he's already getting one of the things that we both saw as, see as valuable for the other, that other show that's recorded in the studio, the Atheist Experience, is that people will call in and they'll feel a sense of community. And a lot of them call in because, like they need a therapist, but, not to a point where they need a professional one. They just need someone to talk to.
They need to know that they're not alone.
They need to know that they're not
And
alone.
when it comes to that, we have a lot of very similar questions that go along the lines of how do I talk to my family, or I'm in this situation, and other things that really interest us are talking to apologists, talking to people who have long arguments and arguments for the existence of a God.
Or gods.
And in
Let's
the
not leave
other
out the
show-
Hindus.
In the other show, it's much faster. And we're hoping to actually draw them out and talk about them, have those
Yeah.
conversations. And on top of that, we are going to
So
be
instead of
checking in.
no, you're done, it's whoa, 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 let's have some fun.
Yeah.
That doesn't really make sense, but
No,
it
it doesn't.
rhymes.
That's okay.
Yeah. It rhymes, and therefore it makes sense.
And then, yeah, we're going to be checking up on people.
You say that
Someone calls
we
in.
will be checking in with.
Checking in
In with
with
people.
prior callers.
Yes,
How's
we
that?
will be. Yeah, sorry. Maybe I just watch too much British media, but it's like, oh, we're going to be checking up on people. I just pictured us like, all right, now let's go to the live feed to Susan's house.
You know what I just realized? We didn't even give our names.
No, we didn't.
Super unprofessional.
All right, I'm Jamie, and this is Tits
Eric.
McGee.
Hi.
This is what happens,
Jamie
if we discuss.
And Eric. This is Talk Heathen.
Yes. This is what happens if we talk about Anchorman before the show starts.
Yeah, see? Okay, so with that,
The holidays are coming up. Want
They
to do the
are.
holidays?
they are, well, Thanksgiving is
Want to
coming
do
up.
it?
It's in a couple days. Are you excited?
Yeah. Sorry, when you said that, I went, do I have to cook something?
Oh, wait. Before we put that out, can we get the number put
Oh,
down
yeah,
there? That
there's a
way
number
if anybody
to-
wants to call in,
Yeah.
you're welcome to call in. And
Are you
join the
ashamed of your
conversation,
name?
or
You want there to be a
bring up something
Yeah.
that you want to talk about.
Call in
Thank you.
right here. Boom.
Oh, won't do that again.
Don't do.
Won't do that. Okay.
Won't get fooled
So,
again. Yeah, call in
holidays.
here and we'll talk about particularly holidays.
So with Thanksgiving coming up, I'm really excited. This is going to be my first Thanksgiving in Texas.
Oh, that's right. You've
Yeah.
never seen a Texas-sized turkey before.
No, I haven't. What about you? What's going
Texas-sized.
on?
I've lived here my whole life, so yeah, I've seen a Texas-sized turkey before.
Know about the same thing usually. I know that when we talk to people who email in or come to the
Are you hesitating because you just
Star
know that
of
my mind
India.
is formulating
Yeah,
jokes?
no,
Yeah,
Star of
okay.
India after the show.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people talk about
Turkeys.
the dread of going
Trying
into
to, yeah.
right, and worrying
oddly
about
enough, I don't think I've-
sitting behind the sitting in front of the dinner table and everybody's wanting to pray or giving you that expectant look because they know you're an atheist, or just kind of how to navigate that situation.
Yeah.
So even without talking to somebody on the line, I kind of want to.
Yeah, the most awkward part for me with the praying at literally every meal is when there are other people there that are non-believers, that everyone knows are non-believers. Like, I'll do the whole hand-holding thing, right? Because family, whatever, symbolism. I know that we're not making like a spiritual Jesus circuit that's being completed to activate the Jesus electricity, to power the Jesus miracles, to Jesusify the bread or whatever.
Okay.
Jesus. But I'll sit at this table holding hands, and everyone's, oh, let's bow our heads to pray. And I'm doing the typical, I'm a non-believer, my head is up. And then I look, and all the other non-believers are like, just like,
really?
yeah, I don't like it. It weirds me out.
You know,
a little bit.
at big gatherings that I've been invited to that have that,
That's how you know.
I have my head up and I'm looking around
to see who else has their
and
head
they're
up.
looking up at you, and you're just kind of making that like.
It's like a game of werewolf, actually. Do you know that?
It is.
That party game?
It is.
Sitting around in a, yeah.
So, but you know, I actually have started to separate away
From turkeys?
from prayer.
From prayer.
And what
Well,
I'll
it's
say,
about time.
What I'll say, no, what I'll say is, you know what, I respect your faith tradition, and please, no, go for it. Like,
Please,
it's totally
go
okay to
pray.
have that
Go
conversation.
over there and pray.
Or it's totally okay to have that prayer. You know, you should go right ahead. You know, that says, I acknowledge you, and that's all right. And it's not setting the expectation that you have to sit there and hold and create the Jesus circuit, right?
Is that actually, I was joking.
No,
Are there Jesus circuits?
No, I'm
If
going
you're a
on your-
believer and you believe that there are Jesus circuits, call in and explain to me how the fuck that works. I'm actually
full
curious.
circle, man.
I love the weird, intricate stuff, right? Like that's part of the reason that I'm a non-believer, is that at no point in time was I a Catholic, and I went to Catholic high school. And that enabled me to read through giant, intricate rules and history, and here's the procedure by which a saint is sanctified, and this is the voting procedure for the Pope, and he has to be elected by 2/3, and there's no debate, and like it's super.
Actually, you know, there was a relevant case in Virginia just recently.
A relevant case?
A relevant to this conversation case, where
Was it made out of leather?
there was a couple
with a handle?
No, I'm continuing with this.
Okay.
There was a couple who had a 3-day-old baby that died because they wouldn't bring their baby to the hospital.
Was it?
And they're being
was it-
charged with
Oh,
with
I think I
negligence.
loosely heard about that. Being a piece of shit.
Well, because their thought was, you know, God will take care of it. God's going to heal the baby, and we're not
We're being
gonna have to worry
charged
about
with
that.
negligent Jesus. Is that what they're?
Hey, looks like we have a call. Actually, you want to move over to Susan? Susan.
Well, dude, you.
Oh, right. We have to wait until it's fully screened.
Well, that, and you were in the middle of a story, and I want to know how it ends.
Okay. I think we're good.
Yeah. No, what was and then?
And then what?
This must be how you feel
Okay.
all the time.
So, and then what happened was they're in trouble with the law. I mean, the baby died, and they, instead of calling the police or reporting it, they sent out a call to have people pray to resurrect the baby. They thought that if they prayed hard enough, they could bring their baby back to life. And it obviously didn't work. And
What harm has religion ever done? Why would
Get
you
out of
think
my
that
head.
it's
That's
your
exactly
job to take away this thing that brings people comfort?
Things like that are
Dead
the reason why we have this
babies. Sorry. Just.
So, well, I'm ready to move on to our first caller. How about you?
I think I am. I'm ready to move on to our first caller as well.
All right. Susan in San Marcos, you're on the air.
Congratulations, first live caller.
Very nice.
Hey, Susan.
Hey, boys. I just want to know what exactly is it that you celebrate on Christmas if you're atheist and you don't believe in God?
Sure. Do you want to go first? Because I have a huge one.
All right, if he has a huge one, then I'll go first.
Yeah.
So for the most part, the ritual of the celebrations is the same. This will probably be the first Christmas where most of my other family has a real idea of my non-belief, as opposed to just having a vague idea that I'm not really religious. But if you mean, do we exchange presents and put up a tree and all of that, yes. But if you're asking, like, what is the celebration for when I think of it, for the most part, I celebrate Christmas with my family, and I'm happy to celebrate the generosity that I've received from them throughout my life. They're not perfect by any measure, but they're good and they're my family.
Does your family celebrate it in a religious way?
My mom likes for the family to go to church.
Yeah, and for my family, it is not particularly religious. I mean, it holds on to the idea
Baby
of family.
Jesus.
And when it comes to Christmas in general, I love Christmas. People have this idea that
That's right. You got into that "Who Loves Christmas More" thing
dude,
with Beth.
with Beth. It's amazing. I absolutely love Christmas.
I always
love
feel weird when I
the
don't.
decorations. I
Yeah.
love decorating the house. I love the smells of Christmas and mulled wine. I love Santa, and I love just the joy that it brings
And
people. I love giving
gingerbread
presents.
and smiles
Yeah.
and happiness.
And none of that is in the
rainbows.
Bible. None of
Well,
that
okay.
is
I feel like we're
dictated out that
steamrolling.
we have to talk about that.
I feel like we're steamrolling Susan here a little bit. Sorry, Susan, we got into our camaraderie. Is that beginning to answer your question somewhat?
It is a little bit. You're not steamrolling. I was just
All right.
curious as to what that meant to you if you didn't have
Okay.
the joy of understanding the other side, the other piece of it, and if there was a discomfort for you when you were with people who did.
I mean, not related to Christmas. I've definitely experienced a discomfort, particularly seeing people that are close to me, not because they're praying or because they believe, but right. Like recently, there was a friend of mine that I'm very close with that was explaining to the group of us that the motivations of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. were not about race at all or racial injustice, and that it was like just his Christianity. And I was trying to parse out what the point they were making was, because, like, yes, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a preacher that influenced not just his speaking style and ability to speak, but his motivation for all of this. And I've seen the mountaintop and all of that, and it's like, yeah, but he was fighting racial injustice. And for some reason, they had an aversion to saying that. And I think that's...
I think that tags on a
but
Christian trend to co-opt things.
Yeah, but mostly it was concerning to me because there's times when you can have a conversation with someone. I'm not sure if anything like this has happened with you, Susan, but you can have a... so if you're having a conversation with a child and you're asking them, and you start asking them questions about things you know they don't know, and then they just start sort of making up answers like, well, that's because, gingerbread men clean it up or whatever, right? Like you can know in a conversation that the way they're coming up with an answer is like dishonest or unreliable, right? But seeing, not exactly that, but seeing a person that you know and have known your entire life and that you love dearly, stick to a conclusion that doesn't seem to make sense on its face, defend it vehemently, and then defend it with but if you disagree with me, you've offended my religion. And then it can be very disheartening, and oftentimes in that situation, I freeze up.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it gets brought up that way, that can be a source of a lot of discomfort to non-believers and families. So for any Christians listening, it's... if you want to talk about family, you're definitely going to hit all of the same chords with atheists. It's not just about the religious aspect, but when it comes to holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, the big ones, they're not just Hanukkah, Chanukah. It's
Don't forget the Jews.
I won't. It's also about sharing, and where I'm going with it is that it's part of our cultural heritage. It's not just a religious thing anymore. It's something that we have inherited, and we're not going to let it go. I mean...
Yeah, I would also jump in and say, when you say it's not just a religious thing anymore, I would say the fact that these activities have like a religious purpose and connotation doesn't mean that they're also not activities done by humans, that humans do to enjoy each other and their time. And I think whether or not a person believes in God, they probably believe in the person that they're talking to. And so if it's like, hey, Merry Christmas, or Happy Holidays, or Merry, it's been years, Rama, Krisma, Hana, Kwanzaa is one thing that people try and say.
Festivus.
Or Festivus, right? They're talking to another human, and I believe that you exist, Susan, and I hope that you have a good holiday season. But I hope that I feel like we're probably addressing your question, but we're also doing all the talking.
Yeah.
You're doing just fine. I think the only important thing I would tell you to remember, I appreciate the sense of family and that that's what you actually focus on. But in the same vein that you're saying that if you're a person who has a religious background and maybe not to impose it, I think is what you're saying. I think the same goes for you in the sense that if I'm somebody who does, that you don't do the same thing. Because like you said, people have a tendency sometimes to vehemently talk about what they believe in, and almost sometimes if you're on that defense, you can have a tendency to overtalk somebody else, and you may not realize that you're insulting them while you're trying to get your viewpoints across, instead of maybe having a gentler way of just saying that you have a different opinion.
Yeah,
sure.
Doesn't mean one's right or wrong. Doesn't mean yours is right or mine's right. It just means we both believe in something different.
Well, so you're entitled to your own opinion, right? But you're not entitled to your own facts.
Neither are you.
No, I agree. No one is entitled to their own facts. But there are two parts to that question. The first is the holidays. We're coming into the holidays, and you really need to make that calculus of whether or not you're going to fight that fight while you're breaking bread with people you love.
Right.
Personally,
because if you fight that fight, you might break more than bread.
Yeah, and that's
exactly.
To me that's not exactly
get
worth
together
it.
real quick.
Yeah, but on the bigger part of it is when you said it's just your opinion. It's so either a God exists or it doesn't, regardless of my opinion, your opinion, or anyone else's. And so to say, oh, for you, God exists. For you, this doesn't exist. Yeah, it's everybody's opinion. No. It either does or it doesn't, right? And where I'm coming at is that it doesn't. Yeah. We can talk about...
So one of the things, sorry to cut you off here, Eric. One of the things that's interesting is that the word opinion for the longest time was used to talk about matters of taste, right? Like, vanilla is the best flavor. It's better than all the flavors. It's better than any combination of flavor. Is an opinion.
Perhaps a better word is your belief.
Yeah, but
your belief whether God exists or not.
I think that more accurately describes it. But I feel like there's also there's a natural aversion to having those kinds of epistemological conflicts with friends and family members, and that can be a very good thing because Christmas comes but once a year. But I would say that it's interesting to point out that tends to be the way that families go. I mean, I know that when a person initially converts or deconverts, they've got that like new situation, new thing in my life that's important to me. Everyone should hear about it because, right? Like in the same way that vegans won't shut the hell up about veganism.
Or people who
joking.
do...
That's exactly my point.
What's that workout that...
the Jane Fonda workout?
No.
CrossFit?
It's CrossFit, right? People who are into CrossFit just won't shut up about CrossFit. Yeah, it's awesome. That's cool.
You have different friends than I do.
Well, boys, I really appreciate it. Thank you for answering my question.
Susan, thank you so much for calling in.
I hope that people who are listening will be a little bit more understanding of both atheists and those who do believe, and just come together and enjoy each other.
Susan, if more people in the world were like you, we wouldn't have a show. Thank you. Thank you for being understanding, and thank you for having that, because we can't expect to change everybody's minds. But if we can treat each other as human beings, then that's a huge step, and that's awesome. So thank you, Susan.
Thank you for calling in.
Very good. Merry Christmas, boys.
Merry Christmas. Although it is before Thanksgiving, isn't there like a quasi-religious
Don't talk about Christmas
fervor?
before Thanksgiving.
the first rule of Christmas is don't talk about Christmas before Thanksgiving.
Okay, well then instead of Christmas, can we talk about the red cups from Starbucks?
Oh, is that started up again?
Well, it's the war on Christmas thing, right?
How is that going? I haven't officially enlisted.
No?
But I've been told that I'm fighting in it anyway, so I guess I'm either a partisan. A partisan is a thing. In which case, I'm going to go through my long iTunes list of songs and find all of the songs encouraging partisans in World War II to fight, just to... my love of somewhat controversially placed music.
I do.
Russian folk songs are great. I don't care that...
Well, what?
Stalin can't have my music. Fuck that guy.
Starbucks.
Let's get back to Starbucks, because we've just confused and horrified at least one person each.
You did that, yeah, to me. You confused and horrified me, Jim.
Well, no, because the other day,
moving
there was a
forward.
Russian song that was played, and I recognized it, and it was the tune of the Russian national anthem, which is also the tune of the national anthem of the USSR, and I like that tune, despite the fact that I'm glad that the USSR no longer exists, and regret that the people of the United States do not see the president of the Russian Federation as the KGB motherfucker that he is. That's not our friend, right? At very best, he is a friend archenemy, a friend nemesis. That's as close as we're gonna get with the Georgian soil is mine, the Arctic oil is mine, the Russian border never ends. I've said I'm Putin, and I've said the Russian border doesn't end at a public...
It's okay.
Like, all right. It's all right.
We're good.
It's,
Okay.
All right. It's
Okay,
fine.
we'll move.
I
want to move back to the war on
I'm just
Christmas.
saying I would be a very different Secretary of State. That is...
Okie dokie.
I would also be entirely unqualified.
Okay. What
All right.
I'm trying to get at.
You're trying to rail us? You're trying to re-rail
Yes,
it?
I'm trying to re-rail us on
All
the
right.
war on Christmas.
Hey, is the war on
where I wanna
Christmas
go with the
waging
war on
this year yet?
Christmas is the idea that
Attack.
atheists are trying to destroy Christmas by
feel
not
like-
putting Christian symbolism
I feel like
everywhere.
we failed because we
Christmas
didn't
is
have
gone.
enough artillery in the past. That's what we needed. We needed more artillery.
What we needed
We
to
can do this, guys.
What we needed to do is be a little more clear with the message. And to me,
Death to Christmas.
I think the message is, like, if the message was, oh, we want everything our way, right? There would be like, there is no God on coffee cups. Just, just going out everywhere.
Also,
just
aren't the Starbucks
Dawkins
coffee
atheist
cups
symbols, right?
designed by Starbucks and then are not like in consultation with American atheists
But even-
or the Atheist Community of Austin
But
or
even
the
if you're also
Freedom from
talking-
Religion Foundation
But even if
or
you're-
Foundation Beyond Belief. Sorry, I just started plugging
Thank
things
you.
I like.
Even if you're not just talking about Starbucks, if you're talking about the Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas, right?
Oh,
Where I come at it is actually what I feel is a place of empathy, right? I'm trying to think of people who are not Christian who also want to celebrate the holiday with their families.
Yeah.
And so even though I celebrate Christmas, right, I want other people to celebrate whatever holidays they want because I want to spread that message of love and good cheer wherever you're at. And by saying Happy Holidays, I'm thinking that I'm being the most inclusive.
Yeah.
But
And
people
I
treat
feel
that as
like-
like a negative.
yeah.
Right?
And it's going to be weird to say this, but people have a very strict self-imposed way of celebrating holidays, right? Like not this year, but it was either last year or the year before. I was trying to plan on celebrating my birthday, but the week before, the week of, and the week after my birthday were busy, like very busy. So 3 busy weekends in a row. And I wanted to then have a weekend where I could sleep in and then be like, okay, well, we'll do something for my birthday then. And people were like, no, that's into the next month. Like, what are you talking about, right? And I'm sort of like, well, I still went around the sun one more time. Like, come on. And right, it's like
think 2 weeks after
when
your
it
birthday's a little
was before I was born. There was and my older siblings were young. My dad was going to have to work on it was like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, one or both of those. And so they were like, okay, we'll celebrate Christmas on another day. And so my older siblings, when they were like 5 or something, wrote letters to Santa Claus, please asking him please to come on December 23rd.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I don't know, it kind of weirds me out that people are lying to their kids.
I love that.
Yeah.
That kind of spreads that.
Yeah, but my thing is, I realized when I was phrasing this statement in my head exactly where the problem lies. My approach to holidays is like, oh, cool. It's a framework in which humans do that thing that humans do where we all have fun, we have a good time, and we drink eggnog. Or we all have fun, we have a good time, and we launch explosives into the air, and we call it 4th of July.
Yeah.
Or we all have fun, we all have a good time, we barbecue, or we hide eggs and then forget where they are and then find them by smell later. Or we throw that's powdered paint at each other, which is one of my favorite holidays, just because that's so flippin' awesome. There are a bunch of cultures with holidays in the spring that revolve around the breakdown between social barriers. I'm coming back. All right, and we're re-railed. And my point is, the important thing about the holiday isn't the specific rules of the holiday or the specific date of the holiday, it's the humans. But people tend to have this very strict, unyielding, no, humans don't matter, the rules matter, almost religious mindset about their holidays. And I generally oppose that.
Okay.
Tell me that didn't end well.
No,
Usually my
that
rants
did really
trail
well.
off.
Yep.
Good times.
So I also actually made a note. I wanted to talk about the holidays. I also wanted to talk about the... where do you want to go first? Apologetics or addiction?
Did we finish with the holidays?
I think so. Did we?
Wrong. Every day's a holiday to someone, and they'll never end. Never be done with holidays. Never give up, never surrender, always celebrate holidays. Eat a cake every day.
Thank you, Jamie.
Don't do that, you will die. You will die very, very quickly. Diabetes is not a joke.
I want to talk about...
Even if you say diabetes, or whatever. I'm going to look like a prima donna because I have to keep fixing my hair because it's falling apart.
That's all right.
It only lasted, halfway into episode 1 before I messed with my hair.
Well, I actually, since this is episode 1, I also want to put out there that this is proof of concept, right?
Proof of concept.
That we are going to be making changes depending on what people like, how many people are calling, what kind of people are calling.
Yeah, what people do and don't like about Eric will determine whether or not we have to make Eric do things differently.
Yeah.
That no one will have any problem with my rambling or interrupting or derailing or this thing that I'm doing right here.
Which is just filling space to fill space.
Oh, but it's fun.
No.
I do get into laugh.
I'm so sorry.
No.
Okay.
That's what we do. Wacky arm waving, inflatable arm flailing tube men.
That's right.
Yeah.
So when we were getting this ready, I do want to get a couple thank yous out there while we're on there. First off, thank you to Mark and Vern. Vern.
The lords of sound and light.
Yes. Vern, may our voices please his ears.
Yes.
And Mark, who's our amazing producer, got us ready to do this. I want to thank Jamie. Jamie, thank you for being my co-host in this and putting up with all of my neurosis.
We're only halfway through the
other people.
We should do the credits in the middle, because then there's a really long after credits scene that's totally worth it. It's the other half of the show.
We're hiding the show from you.
Yeah.
The phone number is available. Call in.
Eric's tired of talking to me.
I would like to get some callers. If you're listening, call in. Get something to talk about.
512-686-0279.
Speaking of, can we get the phone number back up here?
Needs a better jingle.
512-686-0279.
512-686-0279. Bam. I'm not going to tell you how I think about that.
I
number.
specifically
Crazy.
want to
That doesn't make
actually
sense.
send a shout out to Anthony Magnabosco.
Yep.
Anthony, you have been
My
pushing us
boy.
all week up until the show, and we really, really appreciate it, man.
Thanks, man.
We also want to thank, in general, the Atheist
Also,
Community
he
of
was
Austin.
sitting right there not too long ago.
Yeah.
Was it last week or the week before? It was the week
It
before
was like
last.
3 weeks ago, man.
It was like
It's been a
3
while.
weeks ago. Whatever. He's stuck in my. He exists eternally in my memory. So thank you. That was a lot of fun. That's what I was saying.
We also want to thank, in general, the Atheist Community of Austin for giving us the place to be, the studio, the...
We'd like to thank all of the board
Equipment.
members of the Atheist Community of Austin. They're the best people.
They are. We like them a lot, actually. There's not a single person that I wouldn't love to sit down and break bread with, speaking of holidays.
I was gonna entirely leave you there because I wasn't sure where you were going. There's not a single person that I wouldn't love to. And then I could hear your brain humming very quickly to not hit a joke or something.
No. I want to be honest. I want to be serious about this. And so I do want to.
I'm
put the shout out
serious
there.
as well,
Thank you, guys.
even when I'm goofy. I'm serious about my jokes.
Anything else you want to put out there?
Good vibes in a metaphorical sense, because spreading good vibes to affect the world is bullshit.
All right. So if we're moving into this,
I can't get away
if
from
we're moving into this, let's actually get there.
Let's get to apologetics.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Because
so-
they're bullshit. Sorry.
Well, actually, they're really fun to talk about. I was reading up on the Kalam cosmological argument for the 5 millionth time this morning, just because there's so many different
Various
iterations.
iterations of it.
Yeah, and the counter-apologetics to it are fun. The counter-apologetics to all of these different arguments for the existence of a God, I think, are an absolute blast to talk about. I definitely want to include that on this show.
Yeah. Well, we're doing, do we want to, this isn't a note for you, I was writing something down for me. I've just pulled back the curtain a little bit,
Go on.
and the sun burns into my eyes, so that's a musical reference.
Jamie.
You've left me
What are
hanging.
you saying?
I wasn't going to say very much. I was going to point out that we're doing our best to create media in many formats and release it in many different ways. You already told me that, that's not the format of our show once earlier when I was like, hey, here's this video of this guy making a weird, terrible argument based on several leaps of equivocation in thought. And then you were like, it's not that kind of movie, bruv. And then I died on the floor because I'm
okay.
Samuel Jackson, and you walked away because you're.
Do you
that
want to get
British dude
topical?
at
Do
the
you wanna get
end
topical?
of the first Kingsman movie? It's not really
wanna
topical.
be
It's
topical,
that there's a rapper that I don't know
Okay.
that released a video. The most memorable aspect of this video is that several times through it he goes, Rockstar, right? And he's holding up the Rockstar thing. You remember this? Do you remember this coming up? Am I getting lots of hate in the chat?
No, you're getting nothing.
Do you remember what I'm talking about at all?
No, just
It was
explain
weird.
it because the viewer
Okay.
probably doesn't either.
So there's a person who is a entertainment celebrity of some kind that I don't know, but that doesn't narrow it down at all.
Go on.
Who was trying to give a talk about spirituality. And they started out with, I'm holding up Rockstar. Everyone at the count of 3, say the word Rockstar, but don't move your mouth. Say the word Rockstar, but don't move your mouth. Now, right now, you all just said Rockstar, and you all just heard Rockstar without making a sound. And then he goes on from there to talk about but if you can say things without your mouth, then what's talking? And if you can hear things without your ears, then what is it that's listening? It's not you, it's your spirit, right? And that makes you rethink what sound is. If there's no vibrations, then you can hear something. And then it goes on from there even more.
That just hurts.
I know, but wait.
That's just really
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, hit me.
Do you like that BS? Because I've got some more for you, because it gets to a point. Through the middle, my brain was still melting and reconstructing itself. But later in this, I think it's about 8 minutes of video, he talks about like dimensions, right? Like 3-dimensional space is forward and backwards, up and down, left and right. But what about in and out? And then like...
What?
Just let me read about conspiracy theories. At least they have a...
Please call the show. We want to talk.
Please explain to me, Rockstar. I honestly, I don't know if this is true, and props to him if it is, but the opportunity for marketing in that situation is amazing. If he wasn't getting paid by Rockstar to include them as the thing that he said in the video, he should have been. Right, because he can do exactly the same thing with any product. Nike, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, hey, large corporations, pay me and I'll wear a shirt with your name on it.
I'm not against selling out.
Well, okay, I am not against the kinds of advertising that are not obtrusive, and I'm not against business relationships with corporations that don't negatively impact the product or the show, right? I would be happy to wear.
No, we can't.
Yeah, that's right. Never mind.
That's right.
We're on the. I'd be happy to do this, but it's illegal.
This is a 501c3 nonprofit. You can actually like and subscribe to the show. Any revenue that comes from YouTube is going to be going to the Atheist Community of Austin. Right now, we are renovating at the Free Thought Library. Every little bit helps. We cannot sell out. We have Project X, but that's not going to be a thing.
But don't mention Project X.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. What is it the Scientologists say? I'm gonna write an information report. There's a report that you file when a person who's not supposed to know something says, like, have you heard about Xenu or whatever, and they know a thing that they're not supposed to know. You have to write a report on them.
Really?
File it. Yeah. This is one of the things that throws me off a little bit. Here, allow me to just entirely derail the conversation yet again.
If you're going to talk about Scientologists, I've got stuff to give. So.
Oh, okay, cool. People go, oh yeah, Scientologists, they believe this. No, they don't. No, they don't. More than 90% of the people that are Scientologists don't know what you're talking about, because it's that insular of a community.
Yep.
They don't know the name Xenu. They don't pray to Xenu. That's not what it is. It is, however, a perfect example of pointing out that religion isn't, a religious organization isn't entirely, or for the most part, mostly about the tiny tenets of its doctrine in the day-to-day. It's the people that are there giving and getting the money.
Yeah. Well,
and so a lot of those people are just going there, getting audited.
A lot of it
and they
is
don't believe.
Not just auditing; it's counseling sessions.
Well, that's what the auditing.
Not just that. Like a lot of ways that they bring them in is different ways to public speaking classes or just intrapersonal classes. It's kind of like a pseudo psychology that a lot of people go and will pay for sessions, and then it kind of leads.
And then they get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on the National Mall, and there was it was on National Book Week, like several years ago. There was a giant yellow tent, and it was the Scientologists. And there were like little kids running around with pamphlets. It's amazing.
So
I don't know why that image sticks with me.
I actually cannot name any names or specific places, but
this is Austin. Can you say Austin?
Yes.
Austin. That's a name and a place. The curse is broken. You can name people.
I specifically worked in a place that did work for Scientology for a while, and it was super hush about everything.
Yeah.
Just everything. Everyone had to sign contracts. Everyone needed to be, because you were afraid that people in big black SUVs were going to come and want to have a talk. Looks like we're going
to want to have a talk that wasn't heathen.
Actually, it looks like we're getting a call. It's not getting picked up. You just want to throw them on the air?
Why not?
All right.
Hello, caller. You are on the show. Hello? You're on with Jamie and Eric. Sorry.
Yeah.
Introducing myself.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Jenny. I'm from Macon, Georgia.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Jenny. How are you? Whereabouts in Georgia is Macon, by the way?
It's kind of south of Atlanta.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I've got family that lives...
It's very rural.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is, how can you deny God when prayers are answered all the time?
Sure. So let's kind of deconstruct that just a little bit. Yeah, give me an example. Sure.
Like my aunt, she had heart problems. She had congestive heart failure when she was 17.
Okay.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And she was given 10 years to live. And when she was 33, even though it had been much longer than 10 years, they did the MRIs and CAT scans, and her heart was completely healed. And the only thing that had happened that the doctors could not say any other reason, that there was no medical reason. So the only reason it could be is that she had been prayed over many times.
Sure. So a couple things. Did she not get any medical treatment during that time?
She had medical treatment, but there's absolutely nothing that they did to like reconstruct her heart.
Okay. So have you heard of Occams Razor, or the whole idea of Occams Razor?
We'll go over it for the listeners at home
Sure.
as well.
So Occam's Razor is the idea that the most likely reason is most often the reason. I mean,
well, the reason that requires the least assumptions is the most supported by the evidence that you have.
Right.
So she was prayed for, so she was healed.
If we're going to weigh these different, possible things that could have caused the healing, right? It could be spontaneous remission is a thing. It could be misdiagnosis.
It's not cancer, so like.
Oh no,
I just go away.
I'm not a doctor.
Well,
right? I'm not. It could
there
have
are
been,
other things that go into remission, although I don't know your
It could have been misdiagnosis. It could have been a record-keeping error. It could have been something that went along during treatment that you didn't understand.
Or that.
And if we take the likelihood of any of those things and stack it up against the idea that a omnibenevolent creator of the universe that we can't see, smell, taste, hear, or touch heard you talking quietly over somebody in Macon, Georgia, and decided to interact
it's possible,
and then heal it?
To be imagined though, because she went to so many different specialists to be seen, and it was over 18 years that she had been to different doctors, had many EKGs and MRIs and CAT scans. She'd been to the doctor many times, several different doctors, and they all gave her the same prognosis that she was going to die.
Okay.
So,
did you want to?
No, you go ahead
on here. So, Jenny, is it possible that a person who is diagnosed with a terminally ill disease goes to their mosque and the people there pray, and without medical intervention, that person lives?
Sure.
All right. In that case, do you think that it would be the prayers in Arabic to Allah that healed that person?
Well, why wouldn't it be? Because it's the same God, isn't it?
Not to them.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
isn't the Arabic God and the Abrahamic God the same God?
Yeah, the Muslims do pray
so of course
to the
they
God.
Could. They could definitely go to a mosque and pray and get healed. Yeah, they definitely could.
Is the same thing possible if they go to a Hindu temple?
Or pagan worship, maybe?
I'm not really sure. I don't really know much about Hindu, so I couldn't say if they actually do prayer for healing in Hindu. I don't write for one of those.
So, here, we'll do this. If there's a group of religious pagans, and then they do a sacrifice or something. I'm actually not very familiar with a pagan religion or religions, but we'll say that it's the same situation, but they do a chicken sacrifice.
Whatever
use
they do.
The stereotype.
Well, I would say that they're probably just backwards because, after Jesus gave his life and he was the ultimate sacrifice, then they don't have to do animal sacrifices anymore. But I suppose that might still work.
All right, but what would cause that to work? Would that also be invoking?
Because you're still
Jesus?
putting it in God's hands.
Well, but they're not praying to Jesus. If they were saying, name
they're
of
praying to a
healing
different
God.
God?
Yeah. If they're saying prayers to a different God, would it be possible for a person?
Well, I guess
I mean,
it's still possible because, does God care what you call him as long as, you're still praying to the God? Maybe if he feels like it's still him, he'll still do it.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
the point that
I don't know anybody. I don't know any pagans.
I don't know many practicing pagans either. So we have that in common. But the question that I was trying to get to was: is it possible for situations to arise where there's a group of faithful believers who believe that there was a healing action taken by God when there wasn't, right? So, for example, we know that there are misdiagnoses, right? Right. So even if we can, in a situation where a person was misdiagnosed and they went to church that Sunday and they got prayed over, and then they went back to the doctor the following week and they were correctly diagnosed, wow, there's nothing here, right? The believers in that situation would say, oh, well, there was something and it was cured by God, even though in that scenario, it was a misdiagnosis, right? Like that.
They could have mistakes, sure.
Yeah. So is it possible that the particular situation you're referring to is one of those? Even knowing that prayer works,
I have something wrong with me. I broke my ankle, and then I went to the doctor, and they said, yeah, you broke your ankle, and then they prayed over me, and I was like, oh, it was a mistake to break my ankle. That's one thing.
okay.
You're talking about 18 years of documented, problems with her heart.
Then they need to be in the newspapers. They should be plastered all over.
Right? It is a miracle, that's for sure.
Well, I doubt it, actually. That's what we're trying to say. So can I actually jump in?
Yes, please.
So if you listened to what we were saying earlier, I was talking about a couple in Michigan. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually pulled up the article right now. Lansing, Michigan. This couple believed in the power of prayer. Their 3-day-old infant got jaundice, and they said, "We'll just pray over it. Right? We'll pray. God will heal them." The baby died, and
I don't believe in that because God only helps those who help themselves. So he wants you to take that baby to the doctor because he's going to guide the hands of the doctor to help that baby.
Or that doctor went to school for so long that they're doing their job. Right? I mean, we should probably give doctors a little bit of credit for doctoring. Right?
Well, to be clear, in the case that you brought up as an example, you were saying that doctors weren't involved in the healing part, right?
Which one?
Was it your mother or grandmother?
Aunt.
I'm sorry,
Aunt.
Aunt.
I'm sorry.
I didn't say they weren't involved. I said she sought medical treatment.
Right.
I just said that there's nothing that you can do to heal a heart that has had congestive heart failure. There's nothing they can give you to make your heart whole again. I'm not sure if you know what a congestive heart failure is, but it's the walls of your heart have weakened and your heart has become enlarged. There's nothing they can do to reverse that. There is no known treatment.
There's no
other than to just
Grinchifying
try to make
of a heart
as comfortable as you can, for the duration of your time.
Yeah.
For it to be spontaneously, fixed, there has to have been something that happened.
No, go ahead.
It sounds like you're saying there has to be a cause to this, right? Something led to her being healed, and effectively what it comes down to is how can we determine what caused that?
Right.
And I am actually curious. I don't know how we could determine what the cause was.
Yeah, I mean.
So you're saying that. Let me make sure I'm hearing you right.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that just because it happened doesn't mean it was God.
Well, I'm saying a thing happened. Doesn't necessarily. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most intellectually honest.
But you're basically saying that we're attributing it to a miracle, but maybe it just happened.
seems like a possibility, yes.
Absolutely. And the most intellectually honest thing to do is say, I don't know. If you really don't know, say, I don't know, right?
I don't know.
Colloquially, when we talk about a God, right? We think of, living in the U.S., we think of the God as described in the Bible, right? Old New Testament, King James, ESV, NIV, right? That God, right?
Right. King James Version. Holla.
I've actually read King James more than I have any of the other versions.
Well, the NIV is... never mind.
That's the only version I read.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: is that God?
Hollaback girl. Sorry.
That God, if that God exists, right? I mean, we're operating on the assumption that we're talking about the same deity, right? Even if we grant that this was something that's unexplained, right? And even if we went through the arguments of whether or not that specific God exists, what does it say about that God's character that they'll heal your aunt's heart but let a baby die? Or,
I can't really speak to that because, she's not a very nice person sometimes, so maybe they should just go ahead and choose the baby.
Well,
I think that Eric's question is, why would God have to choose?
I think it's because not everybody is praying or their soul's not right. I mean, when you pray, you have to pray in a certain way, and sometimes you get a yes, and sometimes you get a no, and sometimes you get a not right now. So if you're praying for a baby, maybe there's a reason why that baby is supposed to die. I don't really know. I don't think that's fair, though.
No,
I don't think it's fair. But at the point where we go, well, I don't know why this baby is dead, all right, or what that would accomplish. We've reached a point where we've said, well, I don't know what it is before, which is, well, I don't know how your aunt's heart was healed. And at that point we said, well, it was God's intention. And now we've reached a point where we say, well, I don't know what purpose the death of this infant serves. Are we justified in concluding, no, God intended for this infant to die?
I mean, I guess it depends on if you think it was God's will that the baby died or if it's God's will that the parents suffer.
Okay, well, so what I am hearing is that this turn of events is intended by God.
I think everything's God's plan.
Okay.
Yeah,
that actually is interesting. So if God has a plan for everything, then why do people pray to God to ask him to do something specifically?
I mean,
because he can change his plan if you convince him that it's the right thing to do.
Okay. Well,
okay.
That's interesting as well, though, because if that's the case, then if it's God's plan for this infant to die and God can change his mind, then isn't there still a question of, okay, well, even if we're talking at the point where we're talking about a God, why would that be something that we could conclude was good or positive?
Yeah. Jenny?
Yeah.
Or Janet? So we have 6 minutes left until we are done with the show, and we have one other person that is on the line. I do definitely want to continue this conversation. You're absolutely welcome to call back next week because I really do want to flesh that out.
That's the thing we're doing with the show.
Yes.
Call back next week.
Okay, I will do some research then on my end, and I'll call you back.
All right.
Dude, that sounds good. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you for calling, Jenny, and sorry he called you dude twice just now.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I wasn't even, there's just...
you hung up on her, so she didn't hear that.
I didn't.
I was trying to joke.
I hovered over the drop button and she hung up.
Yeah, that got real heavy real fast. Yeah, dead babies really bring the mood down. Well, they just weigh you down. Like, look,
all right, look, if you're we got 6 minutes left and I want to get to this person.
Right, if you're trying to get somewhere, chuck the dead babies out the trunk. They're just dead weight. That's it. All right. Everyone loves a good dead baby joke. Oh God,
Jenny, if you're still listening, one thing that I do want you to take a look at is the problem of evil, and I would definitely love for you to take a look at the pot's meant to be broken idea. The idea that a all-loving God would create people who are destined to go to hell, and the idea that a God, we have messages in the comments. The comment messages are saying, why doesn't God heal amputees? That is a very good question.
I believe.
Also, if that is true, if your God is just totes cool with that kind of suffering, then in my opinion, that God's not worthy of worship. That God is a capricious, vindictive shithead. You ready to move to the next caller?
Yeah. I would just like to say I don't know what God's head would be made of.
That's true.
So.
We've got Michael. You're on the line with Jamie and Eric. Sorry, we have 5 minutes left. Let's see if we can squeeze as much out of this conversation as we can.
Right at 12?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hey, Michael.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I was just watching Matt Dillahunty, and it's like, so you know Pascal's wager, right?
Yeah.
I am familiar.
Okay, well, I figure...
I'm not a gambling man, but I'm familiar.
Okay, well, I figure it's like, I tried to believe I was dead. I was in a coma. I was hit by a car. I was dead, really bad shape. But now I'm doing relatively well, so I tried to accept the Lord. I'd go to church all the time and quote scripture, and people take it so seriously, as if it's a reality. When I come to the conclusion that God was created by man to answer questions of things he didn't understand, to separate us from them, and start wars.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like...
I mean, I agree with you, but I think we have it's easy enough to start wars with that. Okay.
Huh?
It's easy to start wars, but it's always good to have an excuse, and God wills it.
And God is like, good men will do good things, bad men will do bad things, but it takes religion to make a good man do bad things.
I love that quote.
Hitch.
Yeah, we absolutely agree with you. But I mean, that's a really, really awesome area of study also. The history of how religions began, because we can say, it most likely started for these reasons, but going into it, there's usually so much more. You know what?
Yeah, I guess, but it's all the power of positive thinking. Goodness comes from within.
Or hateful thinking, right? Mm-hmm. Depending.
Or a moral education and a good upbringing.
So, Michael, we've got.
I like to think every man is his own God. It's like I'd like to believe in a God.
Well,
it's not the monotheistic one that people have tried to define throughout the centuries.
Well, let's be clear here. I mean, the word God carries with it a lot of baggage, right?
Yeah.
And I think we could probably use words that you can get the point across without carrying with it that magical baggage, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, Michael.
Kind of
we've got
to be
2 minutes. We've got 2 minutes left, and we need to close out the show.
Do we have a hard stop at 12? Michael's a cool guy. I want to keep talking.
Michael, continue the conversation though. Give us an email. We need to put the email. Actually, can we get the email put down at the bottom? We definitely.
You came in wearing a suit today, and now you're.
I'm not good at the computer, so.
Call next week.
I'd like to continue the conversation, but my email address is navamike, N-A-V.
Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry.
We really don't want that
the
on
words
the air.
The words you're saying are going out to the whole internet, and we don't want anyone to spam you, is the reason we cut you off.
Okay, cool.
If you, the call screener can
Actually, we can pop you back on hold. Yeah, we can put you on hold, and after the show, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, and then after we're not broadcasting, we'll talk to you so that someone in China doesn't...
How long do you want me to wait?
It'll be
about 3 minutes.
Approximately, 3?
Yeah, we're finishing in just a second.
Yeah, it will be at most 3 minutes, probably 2, 1.5.
We've got to go. Take care.
A long time. I'll wait. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay. Thank you so much, callers, for calling in at the end. We really hope to have longer conversations throughout the entire hour. If it needs to be longer than an hour, we're happy to get it for up more than an hour. If you want to email us, we definitely would love to talk to people and schedule people to call in. So
where can they email us?
Email us at, you ready? mail@talkheathen.com.
Was I supposed to say that at the same time as you?
No, that's fine. Mail at
talkheathen.com.
Like and
Mail at
subscribe to the video.
talkheathen.com.
Please share it out. Let's get this thing started. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
We'll be live again next week, and then we'll be live again the week after that, and then we'll be live again the week after that, and then we'll be, wait a minute, isn't
we're done.
Christmas
Yeah,
in there somewhere?
We're probably going to take a break for Christmas. I love Christmas.
He's going to take a break. It'll just be an hour of me rambling to myself. It'll be amazing.
Have fun with that. Like and subscribe to the show.
No one else's ear is going to volunteer to come in and listen to me.
Do we have the producer ready to close out? Producer, are we ready to close?
Lords of Light and Sound, can we end our broadcast?
Yes, we can be done. You just
All
give
right.
it to you.
Then thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Come back and talk heathen to us.
Bye.